Indonesia and Malaysia have had a long history of conflict. Confrontations erupted during President Sukarno's presidency. Malaysian Federation State, in Sukarno's opinion, was a British ploy to destabilize Southeast Asia. Sukarno was the driving force behind the Ganyang Malaysia movement. The British had governed Malaya since the middle of the 18th century. The independence of Malaya, Pulau Pinang and Melaka was achieved on August 31, 1957 under the name Persekutuan Tanah Melayu. Singapore was still under British rule at that time because of its strategic location. Likewise with Sabah, North Borneo, Sarawak and Brunei. The idea of Malaysian Federation State was first proposed by the Prime Minister of the Federation of Malaya, or Persekutuan Tanah Melayu, Tunku Abdul Rahman, on the 27th of May 1961 in front of the Foreign Correspondent Association in Singapore. According to him, the federation would include the coalition of Tanah Melayu, Singapore, Sarawak, Sabah and Brunei. After a meeting between Tunku Abdul Rahman and British Prime Minister Sir H. Macmillan in London, British expressed support. Then fact-finding commission was formed, chaired by Lord Cobbold, to conduct a public opinion poll on the idea. This idea did not go smoothly, especially in Brunei. Although Sultan Omar Ali Saifuddin III supported, the people's leaders rejected the plan. One of the most strongly opposed was the Brunei People's Party, the largest party in Brunei, led by A.M. Azhari. A.M. Azhari made 17 requests in response to Tun Abdul Rahman's proposal. One of them, to form the unitary state of North Kalimantan, a proposed political entity which would have comprised their British colonies of Sarawak, British North Borneo, now known as Sabah, and the Protectorate of Brunei. Because based on history, Sarawak and Sabah are part of the Bruneian Empire. Sultan Omar Ali Saifuddin III will be the head of state of the unitary state of North Kalimantan. In the future, after a fair and democratic election is held, the new government of the unitary state of North Kalimantan, and the Malayan Federation, as two equal states, will negotiate the establishment of the Malaysia Federation State. This proposal was submitted by A.M. Azhari to the Prime Minister of the Malaya Alliance, Tunku Abdul Rahman. But instead of getting an answer, A.M. Azhari was instead offered the position of Deputy Prime Minister too if he wanted to support the Malaysian Federation State. Wow, this is already a dirty game in politics. I also said, Tun, I am waiting for news from Tunku regarding 17 articles. It's not that I want to hear about this bribe, political bribe. This offer makes A.M. Azhari assess that Tunku Abdul Rahman did not have good intentions regarding the plan to form the Malaysian Federation State. In an effort to fight for the unitary state of North Kalimantan, A.M. Azhari then went abroad to conduct international diplomacy at the United Nations. However, unbeknownst to A.M. Azhari, there was an extraordinary upheaval in Brunei. Fighters supporting the unitary state of North Kalimantan, from Brunei, Sarawak and Sabah, launched an armed insurgency. A.M. Azhari was furious over the rebellion. The reason is, diplomacy at the UN is starting to show a bright spot. On the other hand, the Brunei Parliament is controlled by the Brunei People's Party. However, it was too late. Brunei was confronted with a revolt by the North Kalimantan National Army, Tentera Nasional Kalimantan Utara, in December 1962. British troops were dispatched from Singapore to Brunei in reaction. And the revolt was subdued within days. Indonesia began broadcasting remarks in support of the movement in the final days of the revolt, culminating in a violent dispute between Indonesia and Malaysia. Sukarno abruptly objected to the plan. The foundation of the Malaysian Federation state was seen as a project of British neo-colonialism by Sukarno. Sukarno was concerned that Malaya would become a base for Western forces in Southeast Asia. The base could threaten Southeast Asian stability, posing a threat to Indonesia's national security. Some, on the other hand, claim that this criticism is entirely technical. Behind that claim is Sukarno's drive for territorial expansion and a desire to provide circuses to the Indonesian people instead of bread to divert their attention away from hunger, unemployment, and a collapsing economy. This accusation is false. Sukarno made no direct claims to incorporate northern Borneo into Indonesian Kalimantan. Towards, and, from the beginning, Indonesia's independence, the founders of the Indonesian state agreed that the territory of the Indonesian state was the territory of the former Dutch East Indies, a Dutch colony. Therefore, Indonesia never insisted on claiming the eastern part of the island of Timor, which was part of the Portuguese colony. Likewise with North Borneo, which is a British colony. Although the two regions have cultural closeness to Indonesia. On the other hand, Indonesia was preoccupied with advancing its claim to West New Guinea, as the territory was part of the Dutch colony in the archipelago. This understanding of Indonesia is different from that of the Philippines. The Philippines claimed eastern North Borneo, arguing that the Borneo colony had historical links with the Philippines, through the Sulu archipelago. Regarding the desire to give a circus instead of bread to the Indonesian people, this is also wrong. The minds of the Indonesian people are distracted from the crumbling economy. It is the impact of confrontation, not a motive for confrontation. These are clearly two different views. However, on July 9, 1963, Prime Minister, Tunku Abdul Rahman, signed the London Agreement, which stipulated that the Federation of Malaysia would be founded on August 31, 1963. Tensions were eased after talks between the two governments in Manila from July 30 to August 5. At the Manila summit, Sukarno and Philippine President Diosdado Macapagal formally agreed to recognize the formation of Malaysia if a majority of people in North Borneo and Sarawak voted in favor of it in a UN-sponsored referendum. Indonesia, on the other hand, considered their announcement on August 29 that the Federation of Malaysia would be constituted on September 16 as a betrayal of trust.
Soekarno tidak mendurhakai Manila Agreement. Macapagal tidak mendurhakai Manila Agreement. Yang mendurhakai Manila Agreement ialah Tunku Abdul Rahman antek daripada imperialisme.
The Federation was established on September 16. But Brunei declined to participate. It was followed by the withdrawal of Singapore from the Federation in 1965. President Sukarno responded by announcing a Ganyang Malaysia or Crush Malaysia campaign on September 25, 1963. And then there was the Indonesia-Malaysia clash, which lasted from 1963 to 1966. The disagreement in the midst of the Indonesian army aggravated the situation. Furthermore, General Ahmad Yani's declaration that he would not send soldiers into Malaysia. Even nevertheless, Sukarno's fixation with destroying Malaysia remained unquenchable. In fact, after the September 30 movement, the army proceeded to whittle away at his influence. Sukarno was a fighter who never gave up. Sukarno almost definitely mentioned confrontational politics in each of his addresses to keep morale high while also asking for the Indonesian people's support. "This is my chest, where's your chest?" were two slogans promoted by Sukarno at the time. President Soekarno never hated Malaysia. Soekarno only opposed the policy of Prime Minister of the Federation of Malaya, Tuanku Abdul Rahman, which had the potential to disrupt the stability of Southeast Asia, as well as a policy that was based on imperialism, related to the voices of the people of North Kalimantan who wanted to be independent and form their own state. Soekarno's anger peaked when Tuanku Abdul Rahman betrayed the Manila Accord, 1963. On August 11, 1966, President Suharto concluded the confrontation by signing a peace treaty with Kuala Lumpur and restoring regular relations with Malaysia.
Dilapor kepada saya bahwa Radio Kuala Lumpur berkata, Republik Indonesia, Presiden Soekarno, sekarang sudah nggak ada artinya. Nggak ada orang yang mau dengar, nggak ada orang yang mau ikut. Apa benar demikian, saudara-saudara? Saya ini baru pulang dari luar negeri, dan saya bisa berkata kepada saudara-saudara, belum pernah nama Republik Indonesia begitu tingginya sebagai mercusuar daripada umat manusia di dunia ini, terutama sekali di dalam kalangan New Emerging Forces. Satu bukti bahwa dunia mendengarkan Republik Indonesia, bahwa dunia merasa menerima dari Republik Indonesia itu konsepsi-konsepsi. Kuala Lumpur berkata, enggak, Republik Indonesia sekarang sudah jatuh, dia punya nama, nggak ada orang lagi yang mendengarkan Republik Indonesia, nggak ada orang lagi yang mendengarkan Presiden Soekarno. Apa benar demikian, saudara-saudara? Malah saya pantang kepada Kuala Lumpur, pantang kepada Malaysia. Engkau Malaysia, apa konsepsi yang engkau berikan kepada umat manusia? Apa konsepsi yang engkau berikan kepada rakyat di Kalimantan Utara? Atau rakyat di Malaya, atau rakyat di Singapura? Apa konsepsi yang kau keluarkan? Republik Indonesia tegak mengeluarkan konsepsi Pancasila, Manhol Uzbek, Berdikari, Trisakti, Nasakom. Dan ini semuanya, saudara-saudara, saya lihat di KIR, dikagumi oleh rakyat di sana. Berdikari. Tempoh hari saya katakan bahwa justru di Afrika, saudara-saudara, mereka berkata, perkataan Presiden Soekarno bahwa the crowning of independence is not membership of the United Nations, but the ability to stand on our own feet. Mereka orang Afrika dan orang Mesir berkata, It rang through Africa. Rang itu artinya menggelegar seperti bledek mengampar-ampar, saudara-saudara. Demikian pula tatkala saya berkata beberapa tahun yang lalu, go to hell with your age. Pada waktu itu juga orang Afrika berkata, it rang through Africa. Saya tanya sekarang kepada Malaysia, apa suaramu yang membuat rakyat-rakyat di lain negara merasa kering, merasa menggelegar? Tidak ada. Malaysia adalah satu negara, kalau boleh dinamakan negara, tanpa konsepsi. Satu negara tanpa ideologi. Satu negara yang kosong. Bahkan tempoh hari sudah saya katakan, satu negara yang diadakan untuk overvote the Chinese element in Malaysia. To overvote, mengalah setemkan rakyat di sana yang asal dari Tionghoa. Dikalah suarakan dengan rakyat yang asal Melayu. Kita tidak, saudara-saudara. Kita adalah satu negara yang mempunyai ide, mempunyai ajaran. Dosen andalan Stegen loh. Mempunyai agama. Sebab kalau dikatakan agama tidak boleh. Memang tidak boleh. Haram itu. Indonesia mempunyai Pancasila. Memberikan Pancasila kepada dunia. Indonesia mempunyai manipul objek. Memberikan manipul objek kepada dunia. Indonesia mempunyai Trisakti. Memberikan Trisakti kepada dunia. Indonesia mempunyai Nasakom. Memberikan Nasakom kepada dunia. Indonesia mempunyai berdikari, memberikan ide berdikari kepada dunia. Kemarin dulu di Bogor saya katakan, justru ide berdikari inilah membuat kaum imperialis gemeter. Jikalau konferensi AA yang kedua bisa terjadi. Karena mereka yakin, kaum imperialis, kalau konferensi AA kedua terjadi di Aljazair, dan di situ Indonesia menganjurkan berdikari kepada seluruh rakyat Asia dan Afrika. Aku berkata di Bogor, lonceng kematian imperialisme berbunyi. Sebab capitalism inti daripada imperialisme ialah membuat bangsa-bangsa tidak berdiri di atas kaki sendiri. Prinsip inti daripada imperialisme ialah membuat bangsa-bangsa memerlukan barang-barang bikinan imperialis, memerlukan persenjataan daripada pihak imperialis, memerlukan bantuan daripada pihak imperialis. Malaysia, apakah Malaysia itu berdikari? Sama sekali tidak. Dalam hal pertahanan tidak berhenti-berhenti. Minta tolong Inggris, minta tolong Australia, minta tolong New Zealand. Inggris, kalau betul-betul engkau anggota Commonwealth, tolonglah kepada kami. Australia, kalau betul-betul engkau anggota daripada Commonwealth, tolonglah kepada kami. New Zealand, kalau betul-betul engkau anggota daripada Commonwealth, tolonglah kepada kami. Tolong. Mana itu berdikarinya, saudara-saudara? Sama sekali tidak ada. Sebaliknya kita ini sekarang sedang dikepung, saudara-saudara. Malaya itu, Singapura adalah satu basis sebetulnya, saudara-saudara, daripada kekuasaan militer Inggris. Kalimantan Utara basis daripada kekuasaan militer Inggris. Dan saya beritahu kepada saudara-saudara, Inggris sekarang hendak memperkuat juga pulau di selatan kita. Dijadikan juga basis yang kuat. Jadi utara kita dikepung, selatan kita dikepung. Tapi kita tidak minta tolong kepada negara lain, bangsa lain. Kami dikepung, minta tolong. Tidak. Kami malah berkata, ya kekejero kayak manuk beranjangan. Kau paksa kita kayak lautan angin. Kenapa kau limpah kau apa di Indonesia? Hancur luar sama sekali. Ya, betul. Tanah sedang hendak mengepung kita sama sekali dari utara, dari selatan. Dan kita sebagai rakyat yang dikepung, terus tahu saja. Kita ngasah kita punya tabang, saudara-saudara. Kita menggembleng kita punya gagah. Menggembleng kita punya limpung Aligoro. Beberapa hari yang lalu sudah saya mengadakan pertemuan dengan Pak Jenderal Nasution, dengan Pak Omar Dhani, dengan Pak Marta Dinata, dengan Pak Yani, dengan Pak Sucipto Pangat. Mari kita sempurnakan kita punya pertahanan. Oleh karena kita dikepung. Dan sekarang saudara-saudara, sudah konsepsi baru daripada pertahanan ini sudah selesai. Dan dengan konsepsi baru itu kita berkata, ayo sakarmu maju kabeh lakani itu. Kita tidak akan mundur, tidak akan berpisah sejari. Kita bisa menjadi bangsa yang besar.